Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us for yet another edition of the 6:30 Weekend Bilingual newscast on My Media Prime Television. It is Sunday, January 29. We are coming to you live from our head office in Douala, the chief town of the littoral region. At the anchor, I am Julienne Ndambi and Lilian Fogoe. Bonsoir Lilian.
Good evening, Julienne Ndambi. Il est 18h30 à Dzieki, village situé dans le département du Mayo-Bagno, région de l'Adamawa. Mesdames, Messieurs, bonsoir. Merci d'honorer le rendez-vous de l'information du 29 janvier 2023 sur My Media Prime Télévision. Nous débutons bien évidemment en anglais avec vous, Julienne Ndambi. Julienne, you have the floor.
We begin this newscast in Bamenda, where 426 police officers from the 7 divisions of the Northwest regions have received their new attributes of grades, promoting them to new ranks. The ceremony was presided over by the governor of the Northwest region, byLilian, representing the Delegate General for National Security. The governor urged the newly elected to do more to secure the highway and as well as prepare for the highly awaited senatorial elections in the region. Charles Kebwa reports.
There were a total of 426 police officers elevated to higher grades and ranks from the 7 divisions of the Northwest region who received their new attributes. January 25, 2023 at the Esplanade SD Omezam Upstation Bamenda. The ceremony, presided at by Northwest Governor byLilian, representing the Delegate General for National Security, urged the newly promoted to even do more, secure the highway and borders, ease the circulation of the population, and prepare the awaited senatorial elections in the region.
This, in particular, for the general camp that is running global in the Northwest region, despite many challenges, we are still facing some areas, asking them to endeavor even more than before to secure the cities of the region, the main roads and the borders, to ease the circulation of the population, and also to prepare the awaited senatorial elections in calm all over the Northwest region.
The fact that the year 2022 was a busy one in which much was done as far as the fulfillment of the traditional missions of the police, after detailed reading of the presidential text made public at the ceremony, had 8 principal police officers elevated, 31 police officers in second grade, 25 inspectors of police principal, 47 inspectors of police second grade, and 315 police officers second grade. The ceremony rich and colorful in the presence of the regional delegate for national security for the Northwest, Wilson Elong Nsungkikang, family members and friends handed bouquets of flowers to the newly promoted, who, as they received their attributes, said,
service to the nation and serving the police, and I pray the Almighty God to be with me, help me do the right things also. First of all, thank my God for this day, because it was not an easy one. I passed through so many orders to achieve this. Secondly, I thank the head of state, President Paul Biya, for the appreciation. As this day, as you can see, it symbolizes that is a promotion, an increase.
Beautiful music from the army band left no one indifferent.
The Human Rights Watch has called on Cameroon government to launch an independent inquiry into the killing of Martinez Zogo, a Yaoundé-based journalist brutally murdered in the previous week. The call is contained in a press release dated Friday, January 27, 2023. Our reporter Naivona Nube read through the release and now gives us details in the following report.
A coalition of human rights organizations have demanded for what they term effective, transparent, impartial and independent investigation into the gruesome murder of the late Yaoundé-based radiocaster Martinez Zogo. The information is contained in a press release dated Friday, January 27 and signed by the Central Africa Director at Human Rights Watch, Lewis Morge. According to the International Human Rights Watch, the Cameroonian government should ensure that justice be served for the killing of the media icon. Going by the release, the organization says Martinez was killed for his boldness as he regularly discussed corruption and other pertinent issues during his daily radio program Embouteillage, translated Traffic Jam. The director of Human Rights Watch, through the release, beckons the Cameroon government to conduct a prompt inquiry to bring Zogo's killers to justice. This call comes after several other organizations and personalities have condemned the killing of the media figure and several calls for the government to open investigations and bring to book the killers of the people's voice. It should be noted late Martinez Zogo went missing on January 17, 2023, and his body was discovered on Sunday, January 22, 2023, at Soua, the outskirts of the capital city, Yaoundé. The incident has since then left Zogo's colleagues, family and other personalities as well as organizations demanding for the government to do something to apprehend his killers.
Allons à présent dans la région de l'Adamawa. 9 fonctionnaires de police ont été promus en grade supérieur. Exerçant dans le département du Fogoe, ces derniers ont reçu leurs épaulettes à l'esplanade de la préfecture de Tignéré. Belmonzewa nous donne le compte rendu.
C'est sous un ciel ensoleillé et devant un parterre d'invités, sous le regard du préfet du département du Fogoe, Auguste Essomba, que s'est déroulé à l'esplanade de la préfecture de Thiers, le port de galon des fonctionnaires de police, promu au titre de l'année 2022. Ils sont au total 9 policiers, dont un officier de police principal, 2 officiers de police de 2e grade, 4 inspecteurs de police principaux et 2 gardiens de la paix de 2e grade.
Vu les derniers arrêtés d'avancement des intéressés, arrête, article 2, les officiers de police de 2e grade ci-dessous désignés, inscrits au tableau d'avancement de grade au choix au grade d'officier de police principal au titre de l'année 2022 par arrêté numéro 1072/K/PR du 31 décembre 2012, subvisés sont promus au grade d'officier de police principal et reclassés de la manière suivante.
Pour les récipiendaires, c'est la reconnaissance d'un travail abattu sur le terrain depuis des années et les nouveaux galons interpellent à plus de dévouement et de loyalisme dans le travail.
Un nouveau galon, c'est un privilège, surtout que c'est un avancement au choix. Nous avons été choisis parmi de nombreux collègues pour avancer. Pour cela, nous voulons d'une part remercier notre hiérarchie directe qui nous a encadrés, la hiérarchie au niveau de la région qui ne cesse de nous encadrer, et monsieur le délégué général à la Sûreté nationale.
Je remercie le président de la République, notre chef de corps, monsieur le délégué général à la Sûreté nationale, monsieur le délégué régional aussi, particulièrement mon commissaire, monsieur le commissaire Boukabéché. Je vous remercie et je remercie aussi le Seigneur.
Avec cette distinction, les promus sont ainsi appelés à de nouvelles missions, celle de protéger les personnes et leurs biens.
Depuis hier samedi à 23 h, la Direction générale des élections et les agences départementales de DECAM sont fermées dans les 10 régions du pays. Les actes de candidature ne seront plus reçus et transmis pour les sénatoriales du 12 mars 2023. Reportage.
Ils sont sur le terrain depuis le 19 janvier dernier. Les membres du Conseil électoral sillonnent l'ensemble des 10 régions du territoire camerounais. Ceci dans le cadre du suivi des préparatifs de l'élection des sénateurs du 12 mars 2023. Par ailleurs, hier samedi 28 janvier, comme annoncé par Elections Cameroun, Les partis politiques avaient jusqu'à minuit pour aller déposer leur candidature pour l'élection des sénateurs du 12 mars prochain à la branche divisionnaire des élections Cameroun de la circonscription concernée ou à la direction générale des élections. La commission chargée de la réception et de la transmission des actes de candidature y était jusqu'à l'heure indiquée. Il faut toutefois souligner que conformément à l'article 164 du Code électoral, il stipule que les déclarations de candidature doivent être faites en double exemplaire et déposées dans les 15 jours suivant la convocation du collège électoral auprès de la Direction générale des élections et des agences départementales de l'ECAM. Depuis la convocation du sénatorial, le Conseil électoral s'était réuni le 18 janvier dernier pour la première session de droite. Le président du conseil d'administration, Dr Eno Abrams-Ebbe, avait assuré le public que l'ECAM était prêt à organiser des élections crédibles et transparentes. Que les hostilités commencent.
Ahead of the 2024 edition of the International Forum on Primary Healthcare and Community Healthcare, UNICEF has voiced her support for Cameroon to participate in the second edition coming up in March 2023 in Liberia. Eileen Sama reports.
Cameroon Secretary General of Public Health, Professor Louis Richard Njok, on Friday, January 27, 2023, had a meeting with a delegation from the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund UNICEF in Yaoundé. The objective of this come together is to prepare Cameroon to organize the 2024 edition of the International Forum on Primary Healthcare and Community Health. A major substance of the meeting, hosted by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Public Health on behalf of the Minister of Public Health, was an announcement from UNICEF's consultants on community health, Leonard Kouadio and Dr. Hamed Nedhiru, saying that UNICEF is willing to support Cameroon participate first in March 2023 in the second edition to be organized in Monrovia, Liberia, so the country can properly prepare for 2024. For the record, the National Strategic Plan for Community Health in Cameroon had already been launched in the country, and Cameroon has a good record of community health compared to other countries, according to the UNICEF consultants. However, during the meeting, the UNICEF Regional Office was also asked to accompany Cameroon to the International Forum on Primary Community Healthcare in April 2024. It is worth noting that the purpose of the International Forum on Primary Healthcare and Community Health is to lead a strong advocacy aimed at placing the two topics in the political agenda and to mobilize the additional funding needed for their effective scale-up, as well as to contribute towards achieving the objectives of the health system transformation agenda. Time to act.
If you're just joining us, you're on to the 6:30 Weekend Bilingual newscast on My Media Prime Television, and we are coming to you live from our head office in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon. And onto our health page, today is commemorated as the World Leprosy Day. The day is used as an opportunity to celebrate those who have experienced leprosy, raise awareness on the disease, and call for an end to leprosy-related stigma and discrimination. The health campaign is observed this year under the theme Act Now, End Leprosy. Our reporter Bokengo Kemiawadi has details in the following report.
Also known as the Hansen's disease, leprosy is the oldest disease to ever exist, with a very high prevalence in low and middle-income countries. Around the world, more than 200 people are diagnosed with the disease yearly, including children. Being a rare yet contagious disease affecting the nerves, skin, eyes and nose lining, data from the Centers for Disease and Prevention Control states about 95% of the world's population are immune to the bacteria that causes the disease. And Dr. Tedros says,
leprosy remains hidden among the poorest communities, where it affects those with the least access to health services. This cannot continue, particularly when a powerful cure for leprosy is available free of charge.
Though highly treatable, the disease bears symptoms such as muscle weakness, paralysis, enlarged nerves, eye problems with lust, ulcers, rashes, decolored skin patches, reduced sensation to touch and more, with discrimination, stigma, lack of access to quality care being some reason barring the eradication of the disease.
From the beginning of recorded history, people with leprosy have been ostracized and tormented, often because of erroneous beliefs. Fear of social exclusion has been and still is a major cause of delay in diagnosis and treatment in many countries.
Nonetheless, hoping to eradicate the endemic by 2030, the World Health Organization director says,
it's critical to encourage people affected by leprosy to come forward for care and treatment. Every person has the right to access health care, and I remain confident that with the support of communities and partners, we can detect and treat every patient.
Annual examination, vaccines, proper sanitation, multi-drug therapy are ways to help prevent the disease, reduce the reabsorption of affected areas, thereby preventing the apparent loss of fingers, toes, as well as blindness for persons with leprosy over time.
La 5e édition de l'Assemblée générale du repas s'est tenue à Kribi dans la cité balnéaire. Objectif, faire le bilan récapitulatif de l'année écoulée afin de mieux démarrer l'année 2023. Comme innovation majeure, l'association a annoncé la mise sur pied d'une usine de transformation du tubercule de manioc en farine. Kanté Etapé et Takumoussa pour les détails.
Dans le cadre de la promotion et la valorisation de l'entrepreneuriat, les jeunes cultivateurs du manioc au Cameroun vont bénéficier de l'implantation d'une usine de transformation de la tubercule en farine à Kribi grâce à l'appui des réseaux des entrepreneurs et promoteurs agropastoraux jeunes.
Les repas jeunes d'abord bénéficier de la sensibilisation et la sensibilisation et la formation du coopératif. Et maintenant, ils vont encore bénéficier du projet qu'on a déjà acquis, le projet de porcine et le projet de transformation de manioc en farine. Bon, voilà en concret ce qu'ils attendent de bénéficier. Mais en cours, il y a d'autres projets qui sont dans le pipeline qu'on est en train d'achever avec des signatures qu'ils vont bénéficier. Vous savez, cette association est en peine 2 ans. En peine de 2 ans, vous comprenez, vous ne pouvez pas poser un projet et vous voulez réaliser tous vos projets qu'en 2 ans, qu'on vous valide ça. Ça prend du temps et on a vraiment pris le temps et il y aura des retombées. Il y a déjà des retombées et il y aura toujours des retombées à ces côtés des projets. Oui. C'est d'abord une usine qui va transformer le produit de nos jeunes, qui est ce manioc en farine. Et tous nos jeunes au secteur national vont bénéficier de fournir cette usine avec le manioc. Bon, ce n'est pas seulement les jeunes de Bilolo ou les jeunes du Sud, mais les jeunes du Centre, les jeunes de Littoral et les jeunes de Nord-Ouest. Ils vont fournir le produit manioc à cette usine qui va faire en sorte que nos jeunes ont le marché. C'est-à-dire que vous produisez.
À l'aide du financement de cette association, les jeunes du repas vont réaliser leur projet maraîchère.
Mettre sur pied une unité de transformation dans le bassin de Kribi, plus précisément au niveau de Bilolo, qui va porter sur la transformation du manioc en farine. Donc à travers cette unité de transformation, je pense que presque tous les agriculteurs de Kribi en général seront très avantagés concernant la distribution de leurs produits.
Les délégués présents à la rencontre d'échange ont été invités à encourager les jeunes agriculteurs à se constituer en coopérative pour faciliter l'accès au financement des campagnes agricoles.
Faisons à présent un tour dans certains carrefours de la ville de Douala, capitale économique du Cameroun. Ici, l'incivisme des populations contribue au quotidien à la dégradation de la route. Gladys Bomotongina nous en parle dans son reportage.
Ordures dans des carrefours et rues, canalisation bouchée, carnivores presque inexistants dans la ville de Douala, la dégradation des routes est au rendez-vous. L'image des nids de poules surabondés d'eau est le décor de la capitale économique du Cameroun. Entre matériaux de construction de basse qualité et incivisme des populations, l'on s'interroge sur à quoi ressemblera le Cameroun de demain.
Il faut d'abord connaître que les qualités qui sont par ici là viennent plutôt par le haut là. Et il faut forcément qu'on essaie un peu de bloquer d'abord les choses comme ça pour qu'on là-bas en haut. Et on libère le caniveau qui passe par là-bas, voilà. Il faut donc construire le développement. Donc, si l'on ne passe par là-bas, donc ça doit forcément se dire que ça n'a pas où passer.
Responsabilité partagée entre le gouvernement et les populations, la mêlée pour la préservation de nos infrastructures routières se poursuit.
Je pense que c'est pour le Camerounais, surtout comme moi, on aime la chicotte. C'est une question de mentalité. Si tu bois de l'eau en sachet et jeter un peu de partout, tu vois une chose, la poubelle se mange un peu de partout là. C'est une question de aussi l'État camerounais. Mettez le bac à ordures, sensibiliser. Après 500 mètres, on met le bac à ordures, les poubelles comme en Europe, vous voyez là. C'est que l'Africaine ne peut pas se comporter comme ça. Parce que chez nous, ça doit les demandes, ça peut, chacun fait ce qu'il veut.
En définitive, si l'on pense à un Cameroun meilleur, il serait temps pour chacun de prendre ses responsabilités en main.
2 neighborhoods in Boya will in the days ahead be blessed with a borehole. This was outlined yesterday as one of the projects to be carried out by the new Bureau of Gospel Ministers Forum Boya during their induction at the Full Gospel Mission Church building in Moliko. Emanuela C. reports from Boya.
At the induction service of the 5th Bureau batch of the Gospel Ministers Forum Boya yesterday, January 28, 2023, one of the priority projects for the 14-man team is the construction of a borehole at the Wotolo and the Wokoko neighborhoods in Boya. Besides these projects and more, the new team will be busy for 3 years organizing prayers, retreats, evangelism and other meetings. Reverend Benjamin Acha is the president of this new team.
Permit me to say that unity is the heartbeat of God. We want to reach out to the communities. One of the main projects we have for this year is to provide a borehole water that will serve the Wotolo and Wokoko communities. So we want to impact the community.
An organization that is 15 years old, they are bent on uniting and bringing all pastors, clergymen and ministers of the gospel in one fellowship.
One of the things we'll be doing is to go out to talk with many other gospel ministers to join the association. Yes, like I also said, the things that have been keeping some away, we are using an approach, a participatory approach, which we will go to them to find out what is happening. And like the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 1 verse 18, God said, let us reason together.
During the installation service, the new team was cautioned to love, to never forget the Lordship, to have passion for souls, and to depend and love God. The Gospel Ministers Forum Boya is aimed at preserving, protecting, and prospering the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Making a living in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, cuts across owning a white-collar job or running a business, or better still, burglary for some delinquents. But what no one ever imagined is what comes from street animation, as Darling Gonde picks up on this angle with what she saw on the street of Douala today. Take a look at this.
In an era where juvenile delinquency and crime wave are the order of the day, a youth like Vantilante Promi is changing the narratives. Inspired by the Nouvelle Liberté sculpture at the heart of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, Ventilateur, with the use of 2 tables and 3 wine bottles, is definitely the center of attraction here at the Bonamusadi Amusement Park. But why the risk? Or could this be a source of employment or just fun? I've decided to engage into this sport than to steal. Burglary only reduces you to 0. Life is not easy, but I prefer to do this than to go disturbing people. However, to become a professional like Ventilateur, lovers of such adventures must pay a price, but not without the consciousness of the dangers that come along with the showcase. An individual needs at least 2 months of intensive training to become excellent in this art, and the risks involved are enormous. And as such, I always tell my viewers to never try this at home because it's quite risky. Despite the risks involved, Ventilateur says this art has been paying him off too, as persons of goodwill who watch won't pass him by without dropping a dime. Although this may be extremely risky, it only ties with the biblical adage that there is no food for a lazy man. But do not try this at home.
Dolingonde ending that report on street animation in the city of Douala. And on to sports, some home-based and international lionesses have been summoned to camp by head coach Gabriel Zabo ahead of the FIFA Women's World Cup playoffs. In the meantime, the semi-finals of the African Nations Championship CHAN is scheduled for Tuesday, January 31, 2023. And as it stands, only the host nation Algeria, Niger, Senegal and Madagascar left in the competition. Our sports reporter Magdela Eyong-Bisang has more for us.
Head coach of the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon, Gabriel Zabo, has named a final squad to represent Cameroon at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup qualifiers playoff scheduled for New Zealand. And amongst these players are 6 home-based. The Women's World Cup playoffs will take place in the island nation from the 18th to the 23rd of February 2023, with the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon being one of the 10 nations that will be vying for the 3 remaining tickets for the 2023 Women's World Cup to be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand in July and August this year. After failing to pick up one of the 4 tickets allocated for the Confederation of African Football, Cameroon, just like Senegal, will have to go through the Intercontinental Playoffs to try and get one of the 3 tickets left. Having been in camp for close to 2 weeks in Yaoundé with just home-based players, Coach Zabo on Friday made known his list of 23, which includes 17 foreign-based players and 6 home-based players plying their trade in the Guinness Super League. The 6 local players, including goalkeeper duo Biakati and Ongmahan Mat of Eclair of Sa and Lekki FC respectively. FC Ebolowa's Bridget Budu, AS Fortuna's Catherine Mbengono, Bibu Elian of Eclair and teenage sensation Brenda Tabe also make the cut. The foreign contingent of players is led by Captain Gabriel Abudiongene, Nchu Ajara Njoya, Estelle Laura Johnson, amongst others. The Indomitable Lionesses will play Thailand in their first game, and should they solve the tie equation, they will face Portugal in the next round of games. Already, 29 countries have booked their places, including Nigeria, South Africa, Morocco, and Zambia. The Desert Foxes of Algeria and the Teranga Lions of Senegal are the first 2 teams to reach the semi-final of the 2022 African Nations Championship ongoing in Algeria. This follows their win over Ivory Coast and Mauritania respectively. This is the second time Algeria is reaching this stage of the competition after finishing 4th in the 2011 edition. They will now face Niger at the semi-finals. And this is as a result of Niger picking up a semi-final ticket by defeating Ghana 2-0. Meanwhile, Senegal reaches the semi-final of the African Nations Championship for the first time in 14 years. And will go against Madagascar in the semi-final game after Madagascar defeated Mozambique by 3-1.
And that sports roundup by Magdala Eyong Bisong brings us to the end of this edition of the 6:30 Weekend Bilingual newscast for My Media Prime Television. It's been an amazing time with you. Do have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. And remember to stay in the company of other programs right here on My Media Prime Television. And not to forget, the news was produced by Christain Tebong and supervision came from the editor-in-chief, Fit Tata. I am Julienne Ndambi at the Anko. Bonsoir, Liliane Fogoe.
Good evening, Julienne Ndambi. Mesdames, Messieurs, c'est la fin de ce journal. Merci de l'avoir suivi. Il a été réalisé sous le concours de Junior Pelamar et Christain Tebong sous la supervision de Fit Tata. C'était Liliane Fogoe depuis la capitale économique. Douala, bonsoir.
Welcome to a new world of TV broadcasting. My Media Prime. News, discovery, culture, sports, entertainment. A BT Media Group channel. With